Hi, I'm Julie Stone, Professor of Flute at Eastern Michigan University. Today we're going to go through the Michigan All-State Etude for 25-26. This is a fun one because it's called the Russian Dance, so you can use that image as you're interpreting this piece and make the music come off the page. First off, congratulate yourself for making the decision to do this. Second, think about going for excellence rather than perfection, because sometimes when we think we're trying to be perfect, it can be stifling, and we want to think about excellence, bringing the black and white off the page to make the rainbow interpretation. So this is what makes you unique, and if you make a mistake, just keep going. Don't let it worry you, and remember to make music. So first off, you see a lot of 16th notes, and you see a daunting key signature of E major. I would practice definitely the E major scale, break it up into small parts if you're not used to sharps. Then I would look at these 16th notes and break them up. Don't look at it as a whole big line. I like the idea of interphrasing and breaking up the pattern just a little bit and thinking one, and so two there, and so two there, and so two there, and I'll demonstrate it. And of course you can do other patterns as well. You can do the opposite. You can break it in twos. All those help you push your eye ahead and make the music and make it accurate at the same time. Okay, starting there. Now right there, there is an F with an X. That means double sharp, and you're going to raise it 2 half steps, so it ends up being a G. Now, this is marked piano. At the beginning, there is no dynamic marking, but let's assume it's about a mezzo forte, and then there's a crescendo, and then you bring it down to piano for the second phrase. The way to keep piano the correct pitch is, instead of just using less air, you are going to use less air, but you got to keep at the same speed. So just move your bottom lip out and make the aperture just a bit smaller. It's just physics. Okay, going on. Right there, you can use the same interphrasing pattern. And this one especially falls into this pattern. So again, you can break it up into different patterns to help you get through these 16th notes. Okay, going on. And there's a crescendo there, so I'd probably, again, start that at the piano where it's marked, but then crescendo to a mezzo forte. Now that's a bit tricky right there because you're jumping. What I would do is isolate those melody notes. And work on tonguing them to get the best out of that low register. Maybe tongue more towards the middle of your mouth. You'll have to experiment with that because everybody's different, and really aim the air down into the flute. And then I'd break it up. Really concentrating on that huge leap. So B to A, then B to F sharp, then B to E. And that will help you navigate that. Remember, rather than thinking up and down, think linear as you're doing it. Now right there, it's marked piano again. Kind of a neat trick when you're trying to play piano is to make the notes a little bit shorter, and it comes out more softly. Now right there, those leaps are a bit difficult, and especially because it's F sharp. F sharp is not the best note on flute. So what I do with that one is I will clip them because it's in the style of the Russian dance. Not all music would I clip, but right there, since it's in the style of the Russian dance, you're free to do that. The first one comes from an F sharp, so I just use this finger right here. The second one, however, comes from an E So you can finger the high F sharp with the second finger. I would not finger middle register with that finger just because it's out of tune. Now right there, it's full of 16th notes, so I do those patterns again. Starting with that A sharp where it's marked piano, the crescendo doesn't start till later, but I would still crescendo those notes because otherwise it's just going to sound a little boring. Now going on with these 16th notes, there is an alternate fingering you can use on that second beat where it goes from D sharp to C sharp. Instead of doing this and your fingers flying like that, you can do D, right hand down for C sharp, back to D. And that makes it much easier. So it looks like this. Okay, starting with that A sharp to B piano. So that last part was just a repeat of what you've already done. Now here at the allargando, that means slow down a lot. So I would breathe after the quarter note because the last note of that bar is a pickup to the next section. The next section is called melanconico, which means sadly. And you can hear it because it goes to minor here. So what I would do here is to lengthen the notes more and just make it a different kind of color in your mind. You can imagine the dancers. Now you'll notice right there, I clip that high note just because it's like before. If you imagine the Russian dancers, I wouldn't do that in every style of music, but in this it's appropriate. Now right here where you have these 30-second notes, they serve as a pickup. What I would do here instead of playing them just straight, I would lean on the D sharp. It'll make it more musical. Now right there's no crescendo marked, but it makes sense to go along with the music. So I think you can add some of your own dynamics here. Now all those high notes, I would put a lot of vibrato on those to make them more impactful. And also when you're thinking vibrato in the high register, really think the low part of the wave of the vibrato. Now right there, roll means rallentando, slow down a lot. And you heard on that C, I did a lot of vibrato. And you can take your time on that. And then it comes to a close, and I would make those articulations a little bit longer, not so short. And that is your final note. So have fun with this.